So,
well, you couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah,
I was just going to say you couldn't agree more with that.
Well, you know, the path to truth is a very narrow path, and most prudent men and women, it's hard to stay on that path. But if your heart is pure, if your intention is integrity, and if you are uncompromising on staying that hard course, no matter what comes the way, no matter what lures can lead you off, then that is the means to follow, and I have every intent of following that, because that is the only way out of this battlefield, this minefield that we've created, and this path we're charting as nations to globalization and a North American Union, which is become the European Union and the Asian Union, and the whole thing comes together, and then you have a planet in servitude and usury to a system that would have worked for the individuals. And I'm not going to stand by and let that happen, and I'm sure many others will not as well. We need American people to stand up as well, and truly what's going on in Texas through that Trans-Texas corridor is truly amazing, those individuals down there who are standing up to this. They see it coming, and we'll do it. We will do it as individuals, and this has happened before historically. It'll happen again in the future, but not today, not in our watch. And as more and more individuals that lighten up and come together, we will create the future that mankind was destined to make, and we'll create the North America it was supposed to be for the people, not under fear or subjugation to some other people having to do it for us. We can do it ourselves. These governments work for us. We don't work for them. And if they're not going to do what is right for us, and corporations think they're going to take over our nations and the control, and think that we don't think we have a choice, well, the only reason why they have control is we buy their products. We have the means. The only way we can have the means to control corporations and governments is if we come together collectively. Without that collective coming together, we will not achieve anything. So that is necessary. But part of the battle plan there as well is that in order to come together as a collective, these people who are trying to enslave nations and steal nations and destroy nations recognize that the ability for people to become a collective whole is access to the media and contemporary news of the day. That's why they bought up the media. So we'll go out there and we'll create our own means and infrastructure to communicate back and forth. And if you look in Canada, we've had our past Prime Minister, Mr. Martin, going across the nation on a book tour recently. It's kind of ironic as to how I'm organized across the nation, because every place he stopped, the same series of comments about him. You sold out our country. You signed the Prosperity Partnership. And why did you do that? And organization can happen without relying on the national media outlets. We have those means. We have the will. We have the determination. We have the people. And we have a country to save. And we will save it. And this one country will save them all.
Exactly, indeed. And you know, it's if the key is unity, and I know it's very hard. I mean, it's easier for Canadians to be united because you guys are more involved in politics, involved in what's going on around you than we American. And for us, it's very hard to be united. I mean, 5% maybe to 10% we are united together, but the rest are just watching TV 8 hours a day, and basically that's not good. I mean, they get information through TV, and TV doesn't teach you the things that we try to bring the information. And so basically, again, unity, we must unite. Whether people's Canada, whether American people, we must come to the new point of return at this time. Either we are going to unite and beat this New World Order, or New World Order is going to win, and then we all are going to be slaves, and we are all going to pay a big price, like European Union, when they were united at one time, each country, when they added up, they make the exchange rate. Like, for example, 3.5 of Deutschmark is equal to €1. I mean, God knows, these people maybe say $6 or Canadian dollar is equal to 1 Amero, or maybe say our $7 of American dollar to €1. So you know how much we are going to lose? Between 75 to 100% of our money, whatever you have in your bank account or your 401k. Am I not right, Dr. Moulden?
Yeah. There are so many changes happening across the board that you can go and at this point, once you take the time to actually go and really truly appreciate the historical background, the current activities that are going on a global scale by these various groups, you begin to realize that you can stick your finger anywhere you want, and what you're seeing at the surface is not really the true in between text lines in the text of what's written. And you can jump on any individual issue that you want and tear it apart, and you can begin to see even things happening in the news to a certain extent that you see, well, that's just sort of like leading us down that path for the next sort of like step to move towards the incremental changes they're trying to impose upon us. So I've gotten to the point where I don't even really see the benefit, if you will, of jumping on individual issues because they're multitude, and you can get lost up in the trees at the expense of the forest. And from my perspective, the forest is the national sovereignty which our country truly represents, and the United States represents, and Mexico represents, and every other sovereign nation represents. And the true forest here is maintaining those individual segments of that forest, which gives us its lifeblood, gives us our diversity, gives us our own individuality, and allows us to stay under our own control. Because you do anything on a grand scale, putting anything under a singular rubric. Well, we saw historically kingships didn't work; they became corrupt, and aristocracies didn't; they were corrupt. And giving power on a global grid or scale, even continentally, is a huge mistake for any society to give, because there will no longer be the best interests of the people at play here. You will think you're getting the best that there is, but there is not. And the most scary thing for us from Canada is when you go forward and harmonize regulations and rules and processes that we have put in place in our country. Some of them are better than other countries from our point of view. Some of them look forward to our own national needs, and some of them may not be better. But these things define us as a nation. It's the core fabric that links us together as a whole. To give up that authority, to give up those abilities to some independent tribunal group largely directed by corporations, the interests of the individual and society and the globe by extension is no longer going to be the true richness that it is right now. And that can't happen. And it is happening, and it's imminently happening. And so take any issue you want. The bottom line is, unless we stand up together to stop this, nothing will change. Now, people were quite upset when Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad speaks to Columbia University. But, his message was very, very clear, and it affects us all. Without transparency, without accountability, without some sort of spirituality, have whatever spirituality you want, the bottom line is you have to be accountable to yourselves and to your countrymen and to the globe as an extension. And without those three pieces, we are going to go down this path. And the reason why we're going down this path to a North American Union and a globalization, if you will, is because we have no accountability, we have no transparency, and we have no spirituality, and we've lost our common kinship with our fellow man, and we believe we're in need of protection from these ulterior forces who, in part, whether you like it or not, have had hands in creating the calamities that have actually made us fearful of living our peaceful lives that we're all entitled to have. These are gifts. Our lives are gifts. And and if we want to live in fear, then we'll be subjugated by fear. And with fear gives us the feel that we're helpless and we need somebody else more powerful to protect us. And that whole illusion is what is creating this forward moment, which is going to slave us all and our children and our children's children, and loss of our nations and loss of everything that basically makes us strong and free and independent. And being ruled by fear is going to be suppressed by giving up your free will. Free will starts with the individual. Collectively, it makes a powerful implement that can be used to direct nations to the core persona of what those countries represent. And the United States has a strong persona, and Canada has its own unique and strong persona, and Mexico has its own personage. But, those personages belong to the people.